Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Guys, we're doing another mod video, and the last mod video was well received, and for the most part, and there's been this strange thing for me where I'm like, I want to make another one, but it was so well received, I've been like a little afraid to make another one just in case this one wasn't as good, and this probably won't be as good. It probably, that was the best video I've ever had in terms of likes and, all of the different things, like views. It was great. And so the truth is, though, I want to make videos that actually help the community. And like me not making a video because I'm scared doesn't actually do anything. So let's jump in. I do want to say this, though, folks. So there are going to be a few things you disagree with me on. I am absolutely sure. At some point, you're going to say, dude, Zareth, you are bogus AF. Like, you are totally wrong about this thing. And all I'm going to say is, if you want to voice your dissent, your disagreement, please just do it respectfully. Like, let's have a conversation. I could be wrong. I have been wrong. Like, there are a couple of things in my last mod video that I was a little wrong about, and people called me out on it, but they didn't say it in an awful, horrible way. So, anyways, expect yourself to be moderated severely if you are just a jerk. But one way or another, let's have this conversation. If you guys have a better take, then let's figure it out. Anyways, let's for real jump in. So the two characters here that I said that there's 10, and there is 10. I'm counting Piet and Stark as a duo because they're kind of linked in a lot of different ways. So let's. We're not going to go to them first. We'll just go down the line here, and I am excited to show you guys what my thoughts are. So the first guy, I've had a lot of people ask me about Jedi Master Luke, and like everyone's unlocking him because now the Jedi Knight Luke. Did I say Master before? I don't know. But Jedi Knight Luke was unlocked just recently, and so people needed him as one of the conditions to unlock Jedi Master Luke, and now we have Jedi Master Luke available for a lot of people, and they want to know how to mod him. And he's actually, I'm happy to say, he's pretty easy to mod, in my opinion. So you've got you want speed, you want potency, and you want protection. And the speed is because you want him to outpace the other Galactic Legends that you're facing. He is great at countering all the Galactic Legends besides Sith Eternal Emperor, but he's got to be faster because you have this F-Lex ability that not only does it gives his own guys 15% turn meter, so it makes everyone on his team faster. But even if he's not the leader, which is huge, but he also ability blocks everyone and breaches them, which makes them slower. It also removes turn meter from them. So you have to watch yourself against like Supreme Leader Kylo when you do that, because that'll increase his base stats and everything. But in general, like this is a really powerful ability, and he needs to be able to go first if he can. And the ability block and breach are also incredibly important abilities. They're going to help you a lot. If you can get that on most of the opponent team, half the battle's already won. So you want potency on top of that, because the potency is going to help you stick those debuffs and help you reduce that turn meter and everything. So you want that. On top of all of this, though, you want protection, and the protection is based off of his lead. If you're not going to run him as the leader, then you don't really need protection on him. You can run him with whatever you want, I guess. Like more potency or something. But here's the thing, guys. So he gets it when he's the leader. He gives an ability that lets other people attack using his protection stat, and that includes, like, Hermit Yoda doesn't normally have an attack. He can do like 60k damage now under Jedi Master Luke's teachings or whatever his ability. So, based off of 60% of Jedi Master Luke's base max protection, so you want his protection to be as high as you can get it. Luckily, there's not like a protection set or something. There's not, there's a health set, but that doesn't help us here. So, you want protection here. The one contentious piece, some people like to put extra potency on here. A potency cross wouldn't be bad, but it does. plus 24 percent protection is nice. Like, it's hard to say no to that, right? So I like protection. The potency is nice. I think you could go either way. And then otherwise, protection and then the speed arrow is great. So that's basically it for Jedi Master Luke. So next up, guys, this one is going to be one that we're all going to fight about, I think, for a while. A lot of people disagree with me on this. A lot of people do agree with me on this, too. People who I respect and think are great. So anyways, I'm not going to cite names because we could be here forever, but let me get a drink here. You guys can ponder what I'm going to say for a minute. So, Vader. Everyone, man, he's such a cool character. I love his rework. I love that everything, man. I have not wanted to talk about him because I think I have it right, but it can be super contentious. So, everyone knows you want him to have lots of potency if you can. You also want him to be able to crit. You also want him to be able to do a lot of damage. You want him to be fast. He wants all of the stats, like every stat out there he likes, except for maybe like tenacity or something random. But he is so stat hungry. You kind of have to pick and choose. Unless you have perfectly situated mods, you're not going to be able to get exactly what you want from him. And here's the thing, guys. So I use him to kill Rey a lot, and so that's kind of the angle that I'm taking here. So the problem is, a lot of people are running Rey with a crit avoid arrow, and they're also running with Holdo. Now let me show you guys Holdo real quick here. It's kind of outside of, where I'm not talking about how to mod her or anything, but we have Holdo, and here's the thing. Her Zeta ability, I think this is it, yeah. So, let's see. While she doesn't have her taunt, she has all this stuff, and then other resistance allies have plus 20% crit avoid. So, you have so you have minus 20% there. You have minus 35% crit avoid on Rey herself. So that's minus 55% crit avoid, and that's an awful lot. Like that makes it so if you get your Vader up to like 110%. Crit chance, like her 55% is going to take a huge chunk out of that. You're suddenly like at a 55% rate. So that makes your character unreliable, in my opinion. Like, your crit is no longer going to just like automatically happen. So, people say that you use his lead in conjunction with your crit chance. You need to get to like 100 or 110% crit chance. Crit chance is great. I love critting with him, but I don't want to rely on it when there are a ton of abilities too that just like take away your ability to crit as well. So, for me, I think offense and I want stats that you can't take away from me, basically, right? So, I don't want it to be like, well, half the time he does a transcendent, amazing amount of damage, and half the time he does like an okay amount. Like, I want it to be like he always does this amount, and if he crits, then oh cool, like great. And if he doesn't, then I wasn't relying on crit to begin with, because that relying on something that isn't reliable like that's folly, right? Maybe you guys disagree, but here's the thing. So you can see my failed mod slices on this. I really wanted this speed to go up, and it never did. My health did, though. I think my defense did, too, once. That was great. Because potency also would have been wonderful on him. But what you want, guys, is not only do you want some offense, you also really want some... you want as much potency as you can. Like, once you do the math and realize that the stacks of dots do more damage in conjunction with Culling Blade than the actual crits do anyways. And people I trust have run the math. I'm not going to try to explain it, but the more dots you have, the more debuffs you have on a character, the more damage he's going to do with Culling Blade. And it outpaces the amount of damage crit damage can do. So people like to run crit damage on their triangles. They like to run crit damage sets sometimes. My opinion is, first off, you want to outspeed the enemies like Poe or Finn or whatever. And if you can do that, then that's wonderful. So I know that you don't get a ton of speed from your speed set. Like, he's a really low base speed. Like, so you're only gaining like 12 speed, something like that, something really low. And that seems like it's not worth wasting an entire set on just that small bonus. But what that bonus does is it also gives you an additional 12 to try to chase down an enemy Poe. And once you get it to a certain level, like, your opponent's Poe is going to have to be pretty damn fast to outpace your Vader. So, 272. Once you use it in conjunction with Watt, he's going to go next. If you're fighting against Rey under normal circumstances. I have a potency cross, which most people agree with me on that. A potency set, and then I don't think I care about the circle. Like, health is fine, protection is fine. You want offense when you can, potency as a secondary if you can, and honestly, crit chance is nice to have on him. But my triangle here, and this is where people will call me a heretic, I just have offense, because you can't take it away. Like, he does that much damage. It's built into his kit. And if it's crit damage, then he only gets it half the time. He only has access to it half the time. So for me, you just want, and if it wasn't said already, you want 6E mods on him too. Like, all of his mods should be 6E, because he's so stat hungry. Every stat helps him. So I probably spent too much time on Vader, but he's an important one, guys. He is really important. That's how I mod him. So let's go to the next one. And that is Padme. Now, Padme, you guys should know, she's got her leadership, which boosts health, max health. She provides that protection up buff on everything, and then all that protection up turns into stacks of courage, which translates into damage. And if you guys don't know how Padme works, this is not the time for me to teach you how to use her, but as a character, just an individual character herself, there are two ways to mod her. Number one, you can mod her really slowly, and that's a way to counter Darth Revan teams if you want to counter them, as long as she's the slowest character on her team. So she wants her whole team to go before her, and then she also wants to be slower than like the enemy Darth Revan and Bastila if she can. So that way it works, but she's still okay. Honestly, she's still fine in a lot of settings if she's slow, but otherwise you want her to be fast. So she's putting out as many debuffs as she can, or as many buffs as she can. She's stunning people. She's doing all this crazy stuff. You want her to be fast. The other piece of it, though, so I mentioned courage before and the stacks of protection up. Here's the thing. So protection up against all wisdom or intuition, I guess. Like, stacks of protection up are all based off of a character's max health stat. So if it says that they gain a stack of protection up, a 50% protection up, what that is it takes her health stat and it gives you that much protection, or it gives you 50% of that much protection, because it's a 50%, it's a 50% protection up stat. So yeah, so like 5% protection up, all this stuff. So protection up is a huge thing with her, a huge mechanic, and so the natural response. So it's like, okay, I'm advanced enough to realize that more health will translate into more protection, which will translate into more courage and more survivability in the interim, and that's great. That works. Then the mathematicians come in and tell you that this is the part that I just have to take on faith. I looked at all the numbers. I believe a lot of people I trust who know numbers better than me also believe. But the crazy thing is, once you hit relic something with her, like it starts being more beneficial to up her armor than her health stat. And I really, we could spend forever like that's a whole video that people can watch. Honestly, I think people have made videos, but so you still want health on her, but I'm slowly trying to replace all of my things with defense sets, because that's how you increase your armor. But here's the thing. So you have health with defense set. I've made this like really stupid hobby of just trying to get her like these really stupidly fast health primary mods with defense set, and yeah, like she doesn't deserve these. She's not a good enough character to deserve these fast mods. But I do have her stats. Let's see. Yeah, so her armor's right at about 60% right now. Once I change these out, these ones aren't as fast. But I do want her kind of fast. I don't know. You don't need them as fast as me. But defense set, guys, if you have her relic at all, then defense set is going to be a better thing for her. Okay, so now we're going to get into the Imperial Trooper guys. So we got Piet, we've got Stark, and so we all want Piet to go first because Piet is he's naturally faster, and so you want him to be fast. You don't necessarily need potency on him or anything. Here's the thing about these guys. So yes, Piet has kind of replaced Stark in terms of like who goes first. So everyone's kind of tempted to take Stark and reduce his speed by a huge amount. And you can see I've kind of done that, and I regret doing that. I want to get him a little faster because the fact of the matter is Piet is actually... so if you guys want to watch a video about how troopers work, go search my trooper video, and that'll explain the mechanics. Once you've done that, or if you already understand how it works, so Piet wants to go first because he's got higher natural speed. But a lot of times, guys, if you have a flexible roster, you're going to want to use Piet with Vader. There are a lot of teams that Vader really loves with Piet that gives him extra potency and other things that he wants. So Piet sometimes just gets yoinked by Vader, and that's fine. But what a lot of people aren't realizing is troopers were good before Piet came along. Like they weren't the world beaters that they are now, but they could still kill a lot of teams like bounty hunters and newt teams. There's a lot of stuff that you can do, and so if you can keep a little speed on Stark, it's gonna be nice. That's all I really wanted to say. Like, you want speed on Piet. You also want some speed, more speed than you would think, on Stark as well, just to keep that team actually like being an option. Because otherwise, you take Piet away, and that's in a way like stealing an entire team. You don't want to lose an entire team if you can help it, at least not in Grand Arena. Okay, so Shaak Ti is, she's kind of straightforward. Depending on where you use her, like, if she's on a Padme team, you want health because of the things we were talking about, because of the protection up stat, and... Oh, excuse me, guys. So you want the protection up stat. The other piece of it is, though, you want her in 5v5. I don't need her to be super fast. Like, she gains a lot of turn meter and everything. It's great. Hold on, I gotta... Alright, sorry about that. My mouse lost all of its batteries. And now you guys get to learn about that, apparently. So Shaak Ti, there's nothing too crazy about her, honestly. She wants to be kind of fast. As she's with clones, she's getting a ton of turn meter anyways, so, like, not a big deal. With Padme, you want to have her with health. I will say this, though. The thing that she is used the best for right now is as another character with a Jedi Knight Luke. And the Jedi Knight Luke has that leadership ability where not only does he slow everyone on the enemy team down to his speed, but you also have the extra ability that calls everyone to attack, and then it gives him a bonus turn. He can stun everyone then, and it's a mess. So what you want, Shaak Ti is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, naturally fast Jedi in the game. And she's so plug and play, she's so helpful. People do this with Hoda, but she is naturally faster than Hermit Yoda as well. You want to stack her up with a ton of health. Now, 3v3 is coming up here. Even if you guys are watching this way later, like, she is super useful in 3v3 on that Luke team. I don't have her modded for that right now, but what you want to shoot for is somewhere, and this, I know that it's crazy, mine will end up being somewhere around like speed like 345 or something like that. You want her to be faster than anyone else. So 345, that means then she'll immediately call Jedi Knight Luke to assist, and then he'll get a bonus turn. immediately, bring everyone's speed way down, and he'll stun everyone, and then you'll win because it's 3v3 and they don't have much recourse, and he's just going to beat them up. So Shaak Ti at fast speed, really good. That's absolutely what you want from her in most teams anyways. Now, we're going to talk about the bastilas here for a minute. So Dark Bastila, you want her fast. I don't have her as fast as I used to, I'll tell you that. She is nice to be fast. Man, this is pretty depressing actually. She used to be like 314 for me, but I mean, other characters need fast mods too. So, and really this is a nice way to kind of trip up Padme squads if they're trying to counter you. Like, if they have a fast Padme or faster than this Padme, then they're going to struggle a lot. Like, Padme relies on going after Bastila goes for reasons that you guys can learn about in another video somewhere. So yeah, my Bastie's not that fast. The thing I want to point out here though, guys, is her kit. A lot of people put protection on her, and I think that's crazy. So if you're not running her with Darth Revan, then I don't care. Go do what you want with her. I put potency on her and speed and call it good. What you want, though, for her, once she has Darth Revan as the lead, and I know a lot of people run her with Darth Revan, I think they mostly should, she gains plus 70% max health from that, from this part of her kit, and that piece is really important, honestly, guys. It really is. You want that health because you want her to gain another 70% of it. Protection, she doesn't have any kit things that make her protection higher. So more health is better health, or better for her. The other piece of it, guys, if you can, and I know that I don't have her modded this way right now, she will eventually. I think this is actually modding based off of something that we were required to do for our guild or something like that. But what you want a potency cross here, because she has such low potency base. So she has what's her base potency? Let's look at it at that stat. So her base potency is like 54%, and that's pretty pathetic if you want to land a lot of debuffs, which she excels at landing debuffs. So you give her a Zeta, and then after you give her Zeta for 50% potency, you want to give her another. You want to at least give her a cross for another. What does a cross give? Plus 30 potency, and then you're going to be landing at a pretty high clip. But otherwise, like right now, she's only at 100% potency, and that means that really tenacious guys like Malak or some Rays are going to resist at an almost 100% rate. So more potency on her, more speed and health. Now this other Basti here is almost the exact same, but for kind of different reasons. So she wants to be able to land her debuffs. She wants to be able to stun when she can and give the buff immunity. Then if she's the leader, this is the important part. So we're talking about protection up a lot. And she gives everyone with her Zeta on her lead, even without her Zeta, she still gives everyone 200% protection up. And that, like I said before, protection up is based off of a character's health stat. So you want her to have health, and if she's the lead, you actually want a lot of her team members to have a lot of health as well, because then they'll start with a huge amount of that bonus protection, and that bonus protection is what's going to help keep you safe for a long time. After that bonus protection runs out, then a lot of bad things can happen. So she wants to be fast, she wants that potency, and she also wants health, because if she is the lead, then she's going to gain extra protection based off of that. Alright, let's see who's next. Well, not you, Colonel Stark. Okay, so Mandalorian, guys. So we all want him to be cool. We want to use him. We want to do awesome stuff with him. And, you know, there are a lot of good uses for him. There's a lot of, if you watch some of my 5v5 videos, there's a lot of team comps that you can use to just auto-snipe a key character. Like, he can be really important in being able to, like, you can kill Padme teams with bounty hunters now by just having him snipe out Padme right away. It's pretty cool. So, Here's the thing that you really want to make sure you don't miss, though, guys. For him, you want crit chance like crazy, as much crit chance as you can. And that's because each time the Mandalorian scores a critical hit, he gains 30% turn meter, and other bounty hunters gain some of that too, which that doesn't bear anything on mods, but, well, it does, though, because his whole team gets faster if he crits. And he doesn't do much damage other than he can call an assist to someone who does do damage, and otherwise he can do his disintegrate, which is obviously like the desired result. It's a cool thing. So, I mean, things you can do to get your crit chance up. You can get your relics up first off, and I know this isn't a relic thing, but you can see, like, if you every time you increase his relic level, he's gaining crit chance here, and then he also gains crit chance here as well. So, getting him to relic 5 is not actually a bad idea at all. I just haven't gotten around to it. Eventually I will. The other piece is you want crit chance. So you can see the only 6E mod I have on him right now is a crit chance triangle. It's not super fast. He doesn't need to be super fast. I put offense on him. I'm actually considering putting, like, I don't know, some stat that actually, like, protection probably, because he goes with Bosk a lot. Like, he doesn't necessarily need offense. He doesn't do that much damage. I think maybe this is wrong, the offense cross. And otherwise, you want him to be kind of fast, but, like, my Bosk and my Grief are both, like, at 310-ish speed. So I want him to be able to catch up to them. I want him to be able to, with one crit, at least be very, very close to with 30% boost to be able to match them. So I think this is actually, I'm not going to do the math right now. This is close enough for what I want. And the way I have it set up is he gets 2 chances to crit. Now, you do need to be careful if you're facing someone like Padme or something. Padme can negate crits if she has protection up, so depending on at what point the Mando hits with his shot, the character he's hitting he may not crit. So you can't always rely on that with Padme squads, just so you're aware. But you can see I'm at 110%. This is also important because if someone has a crit avoid arrow, if you have to shoot a tank or something, and they have a crit avoid arrow, like they're going to negate your crit chance a little bit. So you want overspill on the crit chance. If you can get to like 125 or something, you're probably a lot better off because you don't want to miss on those crits. That's a very important aspect to the Mando. Okay, so Wampa. Here's an interesting guy who I have totally neglected. I've always loved him and neglected him at the same time, which is unfortunate. So he's also a stat-hungry guy. He wants potency so he can land all his debuffs. He wants offense so he can do damage. And he wants health because, once again, we're talking about protection up, and that stat... let's see, what's... Oh yeah, so when he does his... Is this his AoE? Yeah, so when he does his AoE at the start, he's going to gain protection up by 150%, which is great for him. It gives him these stats as well. It gives him, when he has protection up, he's also... Oh, that's the wrong one. While he has protection up, he gains the counter chance, he gains offense, and he gains tenacity. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you want to use him, if you're kind of on a lower level account and you want to use him to, like, solo a team like a Phoenix, you got to be careful. One of the biggest blunders I see it often, guys. People will take their Wampa and go into solo Phoenix squad, and sometimes, a lot of times that just works because people don't know how to mod their Phoenix. But if you hit someone who does know how to mod Zeb in particular, Zeb is going to get a hit and he's going to daze Wampa. So that's going to totally negate Wampa's ability to counterattack, and it's going to slow him down. So there's that. But then they can also just stun him next. They can land all these other debuffs on him, offense down, all this stuff. And his base tenacity, now you'll note that I don't have him modded for tenacity. Some incidental tenacity, but he starts with 50%. So once he uses his icebreaker, he's at 100% tenacity, and that is not enough to resist hardly anything. So if you're planning on using him to solo different characters, like different rebel squads, you need to throw like tenacity sets on him. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're using him to solo, he's going to be doing enough damage anyways. If you need to put relics or gear or whatever on him to be able to manage that. But tenacity becomes like, so he starts off with, an assumed 100% tenacity. Try to get, I don't know, an extra, try to get him to like 165 tenacity. That starts getting to the point where he's resisting at a good rate. The other way to mod him is if you have the right support for him, or a way to give him like tenacity up, like if you have Rex, if you've got Bastila who can dispel his debuffs, all of that stuff, then just go straight up offense with crit damage on a triangle. My buddy NLBL runs a Wampa at Relic 7 with all the Zetas, and that's how he runs him, with an offense cross and crit damage triangle, and yeah, that's pretty good too. Keep in mind, I run a crit chance on him just because his base crit amount, crit chance is not high. I just like him to be able to crit, and guaranteeing or quasi-guaranteeing, trying to get, if you increase your crit chance, you're eventually going to end up doing more damage than putting a crit damage triangle on him. So for that, do as you will, but keep in mind, health is more important than you think, and tenacity is also more important than you think. Alright guys, and finally, I know this is kind of, people are going to just turn this off right away, but paploo, guys, he's, like, okay, so if you don't want to run Ewoks ever, I can't really blame you. They're not a great team. Like, they in the early game, though, man, they hold like crazy if you do this one simple trick, which is, okay, so you look at, you're like, all right, I'm gonna run troopers against this Ewok team, and I'm not even gonna look at speeds because it doesn't matter. My troopers are always faster, and then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna just check, and then you check, and you're like, oh, look at this idiot. He's got speed set on paploo. Like, paploo's a tank. Why would you ever use a speed set on him? And the answer to this is, okay, so 213 doesn't look like much, and actually it isn't much. I've slowed him down because I barely use the team, but in the early game, so 213, let's just say, because I want to do easy math here, let's say he's 200 speed. 200 speed isn't much. He does have an ability, though, guys, that makes this so deceptive. And that is, paploo has plus 25% speed whenever he does not have taunt active. So he doesn't ever start with taunt. So he's plus 25% speed to start with. That means if he's 200 speed, in reality, he starts at 250 speed. And if your troopers are slower than that, then the Ewoks are going to go, and they're going to go, and they're going to go, and they're going to kill your troopers, and you're going to feel sad. And I won't blame... I'll just laugh, actually. I laugh so hard when my Ewoks get defense on my alt. In Division 2, I still run that team, and they get defense a lot because of paploo. People underestimate him. If you underestimate Ewoks, like, do it at your own peril. Like, they are much stronger than most people give them credit for, but you have to mod them right. You have to mod them right. And that includes, so paploo, other than speed, so that's kind of a gimmick, right? But, you want a little speed on him. You also, on top of that, give him protection. I mean, he is a tank. And give him a defense set, because he is a tank. But that gimmick, that speed gimmick, is going to be way more important for you than a little lost survivability from the speed sets. So, anyways, guys, those are the 10 I wanted to go over today. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think, what your thoughts are, how I'm wrong, and what I'm right about. And anyways, guys, I have enjoyed making this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.